Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and in this video, I'm going to be battling none other than the one and only Wolfe Glick. Many of you know Wolfe for his incredible YouTube channel with over 2 million subscribers, an accomplishment he actually just reached, by the way, so huge congrats to Wolfe for just another incredible milestone. He is also the winningest competitive Pokemon VGC player of all time, having won the World Championships, 2 International Championships, 2 National Championships, and 10 different regional championships. In addition to all of that, I am lucky enough to call Wolfe one of my best friends, both inside and outside of the game, and we have a pretty long and storied history with each other, and so for those of you that might not know, I wanted to break that down a little bit for you and give you a little bit of a story time. But as always, if you're interested in just checking out the team or the actual battle, everything's timestamped down in the description below. And for those of you that might not know me, my name is Aaron CybertronVGC. I've been playing VGC since it basically started in 2008, first competing for a long time, having won 5 regional championships and 2 national championships, and getting 3rd at Worlds in 2013. And I got hired by Pokemon just under a decade ago to be a commentator, and so these days I focus a little bit more on commentary, but I've still competed every now and then, having qualified for Worlds in 23 and 24, played at Worlds in 24, and even went to a regionals this season. And so I love Pokemon, I love VGC. This channel is really meant to help educate and teach people how to play VGC, but it's been something I've been doing for a really long time. So my history with Wolfe actually goes back all the way to 2011, 14 years ago. We first met at the DC Regional Championships, and in VGC there are different age divisions, and so I was competing in the middle division, which is like generally age 11 to 14, and Wolfe was in the 15 plus category. We didn't know each other at the time, but as fate would have it, we would actually both win the regional championships in our respective age categories and get invited to the national championships. We then competed at nationals, and as fate would have it once again, we both ended up winning. What was crazy back then was you would actually play the finals simultaneously, and so I was literally sitting like next to Wolfe. Our tables were next to each other, and we were all competing in finals together. And so we got to know each other a little bit after that, because when you win the same tournament, right, you kind of become familiar with each other. Flash forward to 2012, I was still in the middle age group, Wolfe was still in the upper age group, obviously, and we ended up actually collaborating for the US National Championships, looking to defend our titles. We ended up working on some ideas and ended up bringing teams that were actually quite similar to each other, centered around things like offensive Cresselia. He ran Expert Belt, I ran Choice Specs. So it was in a format where Cresselia was mainly just used as a Trick Room setter, not as a really offensive Pokemon, but we did some interesting things with it. And then, of course, a Steel Gem Sword Stance Scizor set that felt honestly kind of meta-breaking at the time and wasn't super popular despite it being really powerful. And so we actually both ended up defending our national championships titles and then went to the World Championships. I wasn't really feeling the ideas I was testing for Worlds that year, and Wolfe was kind enough to let me in on his Executor team building process, and so he, of course, got 2nd at Worlds that year. I ended up getting top 8 at that World Championships in seniors. In 2013, I then aged up to the Masters division, so now we were more likely to compete against each other, right? Like, we could meet in tournaments, and so we didn't collaborate as much throughout those years, 2013, 2014, and it wouldn't be until 2015 where we'd meet against each other for the first time in an in-person tournament. We fought in the finals of the Philadelphia Regional Championships right after Worlds in 2014. It was like the post-Worlds 2014 format, and I ended up winning. We then met at the Massachusetts Regional Championships, where we fought in, I believe it was round 7. Wolfe ended up beating me, knocking me out of top 8, and then actually would go on to win the entire tournament, his very first win with Perish Song a decade ago. We would then meet at the US National Championships. I think it was in like round 5 or so. I ended up winning. Both of us ended up moving on to the top 8 of US Nationals that year. I ended up finishing in top 4. And then I think that championship season, like, it was Wolfe at number 1 in championship points in North America and me at number 2. And so it felt like this close race between us the entire season. We didn't meet at the World Championships that year. And in 2016, our careers actually kind of slightly diverged, I would say. At that point, I had been playing for quite a long time and was really interested in commentating for Pokemon. Won regionals that year, qualified for Worlds. Wolfe actually also won regionals and was having a tremendous season, and also, had started his YouTube channel. And Pokemon called me up in 2016 and said, hey, do you want to be a commentator for us? And so I decided to try it out at US Nationals, loved it, and then committed to qualifying or commentating Worlds despite qualifying. And as fate would have it, once again, it just so happened that the very first World Championship that I commentated, I was 18 years old, would be Wolfe Glick winning the World Championships. And to be able to be on the mic for one of your best friends is obviously such a surreal experience, and also very inspiring, right? Because I knew that this is a dream that he had been working towards for so long in his life. And so that was an incredible, incredible experience. definitely made me want to compete a little bit more again, right? So in 2017, came back, played a little bit, won a regional championship, but didn't do super well at the international level, and then did very poorly at the World Championships that year. And at that point onwards, it felt like our paths had kind of split in the sense that Wolfe would go on to continue competing and constantly winning championships. I mean, the longevity that he's had in the game is truly like, there's like no one that you can really compare to, right? He's been doing this since 2011. He's winning championships every season. It's so inspiring. At that point, I had really leaned more into commentary and had really stepped away from competing. And so throughout the years, of course, we would stay friends. And at that point, since we were kind of competing against each other less, like we would often either have like practice games with each other. I would be looped in on his world championship training process. This is kind of more 2021, 22 onwards. And we were both on the same esports team at Panda Global as well as Beast Coast. And so we would do a lot of collaborative content, especially exhibition battles. His win rate in exhibition battles against me feels like it's like got to be over 80%. And then in draft leagues, we've actually played in the WBE finals where he beat me 2-0, and in the WBE singles draft league where I think he knocked me out of top 8 as well. So all of this is to say we have a long history with each other, both as friends and as competitors. I'd say these days we very, infrequently compete against each other seriously, and we're very keyed in on each other's processes. Wolf's always been super helpful when I'm preparing for tournaments, and we even boot camped and trained for the World Championships in 2024 together for 2 weeks in Europe, which was a really cool experience. And so, yeah. All that is to say, he is one of my best friends. I'm constantly inspired by him. It is always so fun to fight against him because he pushes you to your limits. You know it's going to be a good set because of how amazing of a player he is. And so, hey, I think one of the coolest things about Pokemon and competitive VGC is that you can always learn more, and losing, I always say, is one of the best ways to learn more. And to, go up against players who are truly the best of the best pushes you to your brink. And so, really excited for this set. Always a pleasure to play against Wolfe. And yeah, let's see how this goes. Folks, this is week 5 of the Wolfe Draft League. Let's get started. As a quick reminder for the standings, we are currently sitting at a 2-2 record with 2 wins against Shady and Necra and 2 losses against Joey and Uzi. We're going to be taking on Wolfe, who has been on an absolute tear. He is 4-0, has not dropped a set yet in the league, and he is the only remaining undefeated player left in this league. And so we definitely have our work cut out for us, and so we'll have to see if we can be the first team to put a loss in Wolfe's column there. And as a reminder, it's a 7-week regular season with the top 4 teams making the playoffs. And so, yeah, with there only being 7 weeks, once again, every week really matters and things feel so close. But yeah, this is where things stand as of week 4. So breaking down the matchup this week, I think Wolfe's draft is really interesting in the sense that it feels quite wide, right? Like none of the Pokemon feel super strong individually, but as a core, it's like the sum of the pieces feels greater than the individual pieces, right? And so it's scary because I think you have to show respect to everything. You always have to do that with draft, but I think with Wolfe's draft in particular, like everything has proven that it can be a major threat, whereas my draft definitely feels a little bit more top heavy. I think the 2 modes that you really have to respect from Wolfe's team are Noivern offering Tailwind, right? So like a Noivern Primarina or Mamoswine mode, for example, can do a lot of damage. And then there's a Trick Room mode as well, where it's like Hariyama Trevenant, right? Like fake out Trick Room and then try to do damage against you under Trick Room. So I think both of those are modes that we really want to consider when team building. Now, as the Dondozo player in the league, as always, you have to ask yourself, well, what are the counters to Dondozo in this matchup? And unfortunately, there is one big one here in Primarina, right? If you've played VGC in the formats where Primarina and Dondozo are legal, well, people actually often use Primarina specifically to beat Dondozo. And so this is one of the challenging things about committing to Dondozo in a league like this, right? Especially just an 8-person league where people can pick Pokemon to make sure that they have an answer to Dondozo. Now, Primarina is actually so good that it's not even just like meant as a Dozo counter, right? Like it has probably been the MVP of this league so far, or one of them for sure. But its existence, I think, makes Dondozo feel really sad. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to execute Dondozo because then it creates this like narrow path where in order to use it properly, you're going to have to make sure that Primarina is KO'd before you can get much mileage out of it. And then it also has to respect like the Trevenant, for example, right? Which can be bulky and soak up damage, and like Will-O-Wisp you as well. And so I think the other tricky thing about Dondozo here is you can run one good ability, but you can't run all of them, right? And unfortunately, I think that it wants to run multiple of its abilities this week, right? One to give it immunity to Will-O-Wisp, another one to give it immunity to the Intimidate from Arcanine. And so I think it's just pretty tricky to execute this week. The good thing is, even when you drop Dondozo, there's a ton of offense from the rest of the team, right? I think like the Slacking Wheezing combination is really, really powerful this week, where Slacking isn't immediately threatened by a lot of one-hit KOs. The main thing it's actually going to want to watch out for is either like Hariyama, for example, or Espathra dropping its special defense, and then it gets KO'd afterwards. But the cool thing about Slacking is that it is naturally faster than all of these Pokemon, so if we run Jolly Max Speed, we guarantee that unless you get speed control, right, like Tailwind, I'll be able to outpace these, which is really nice. Golden Go also looks really solid from a damage perspective, where it is threatened by Arcanine and Mamoswine and Trevenant from super effective attacks, but we can circumvent that with a defensive Terra. And then Make It Rain still just does a lot of damage, right? Like, you have one real resistance to Make It Rain in Arcanine. Everything else is basically is going to take a decent amount of damage from it, right? Now, the main thing to note is, as a result, you can run a defensive Terra to get around it, but then it means from the team building perspective, we should expect some defensive Terras like Steel, like Water, for example. And the cool thing is that Palmot covers for those defensive Terras, and so can be used offensively to do a lot of damage here. The main thing that I don't really know coming into this week is, like, Wolfe is going to have multiple modes, right? I think he's going to have a Tailwind mode with Noivern. I think he's going to have a Trick Room mode with Trevenant. I'm not sure how he's going to, like, build the offense around it, right? Like, one of the questions you always ask in draft is, who has the Focus Sash? Who has the Assault Vest? Who has the Resist Berry? And so those are all things to potentially pay attention to. But, yeah, I think the other key thing about team building is, you know, because the main members of my team are so strong, do I have a good reason for Doug Trio? Do I have a good reason for Yama? Do I have a good reason for Toad School? And I think, like, Toad School is just honestly weak to Arcanine and Mamoswine, both which I expect to come out in this matchup, and so that makes it harder to bring, right? Like, I think if Toad School is coming out, you're essentially either using it for a single Rage Powder or maybe going for a Spore, potentially. But, yeah, I think just because it's threatened by so much damage, it means it probably has to commit its Terra in order to do that. Or, like, I can run Sash on it, but then the problem is I want Sash and Eviolite, and Palmot and Murkrow are just, like, better users of it, right? So, I don't love Toad School here. I don't think it gives me, like, a major advantage. Yama's kind of cute, but similar problem where, like, I probably want Sash on it, but I think Palmot's too good to drop Sash on. And then Doug Trio here, also similar problem. I think where it probably is best with either like a Sash or a Scarf. And I think it's like the ground type damage isn't like super powerful here. It's good into Arcanine, good into Glamora, but then they can just defensively Terra. Doug Trio's so frail that it can get like KO'd pretty easily as well, right? So the key team building decision making this week is I think Dondozo probably should get dropped, and then we'll build around from there. But yeah, I think Wolfe's team is really cool because there's just so much flexibility, and they're all like individual Pokemon that feel pretty powerful and under Wolfe's hands feel even stronger. So that brings us to the team that I'll be bringing this week. I think the first thing to call out is that indeed I do not want Dondozo because of the existence of both Primarina as well as Trevenant, and I think the ability for either of them to haze us can be quite bad, so we're just scrapping it completely. I think the offense this week is going to revolve very heavily around Slacking plus Golden Go, and I think Wolfe basically has two main modes he can go with. It's either a Trick Room mode or a Tailwind mode, right? Noivern enables Tailwind, and the Trevenant enables Trick Room. So I think if we're going up against Noivern, for example, we can go with a combination of Tatsugiri and Golden Go, where I can Icy Wind, and then Golden Go can just go for Make It Rain, for example. Tatsugiri also can just thread in a lot of one-hit knockouts in this matchup, and with the Water Terra plus the Storm Drain, if I get, for example, a Hyper Voice boost from Primarina, Tatsugiri can do a lot of damage as well. If we're going up against the Trick Room component, then we can use Quash from Murkrow, and that can be super, super handy. One of the other cool techs that I have this week is Feather Dance, which I think is going to be really good into Pokemon like Arcanine, as well as Mamoswine, Trevenant, and Hariyama. And so even in a world in which we're going up against Trick Room, I think Feather Dance should allow us to be able to take attacks pretty well. And the idea is between Murkrow plus Golden Go, Water Terra plus Feather Dance, plus all this bulk that I have on Golden Go means that I can go for something like Feather Dance, Water Terra, Nasty Plot into attacking immediately. One of the other concepts that I want to call out this week is the idea of bringing Slacking without Wheezing. I think when people see Slacking, they pretty much always expect Wheezing with it, but I think one of the lessons that I've learned from using this team while in Draft League is that Slacking can operate by itself. Now, obviously, that's a pretty big liability, right? It means you only have the opportunity to attack every other turn, but Wheezing sometimes has felt like it's held me back, especially in the previous week against Joey, where it just wasn't able to offer enough offense in the end game, and it would have been much more useful to have something else, especially because in Joey's matchup, I actually didn't even really have Wheezing and Slacking out on the field together, and they were like individual pieces, right? Slacking itself can just be really powerful because it has the ability to get a one-hit knockout onto a lot of different Pokemon in this league, and if you look at Wolfe's team, for example, he's got a lot of Pokemon that are naturally slower than Slacking. That's why I want to run Jolly max speed and just make sure I outpace like max speed Arcanine with Will-O-Wisp, for example. And then Palmot, I think, can be really valuable in either dealing with Water Terras or dealing with that Primarina. It's also just got close combat in general. But yeah, I think the main modes to center around are either like Murkrow Golden Go, Tatsugiri Golden Go. Slacking can be paired with like Murkrow, for example. And like I said, one of the things I want to potentially try out this week is bringing Slacking without Wheezing. Okay. So, we've got Ghost Noivern, Fire Arcanine, Electric Primarina, Dark Trevenant, Dark Espathra, Steel Hariyama. Most of these were Terras that I was prepared for. I think the main thing is Electric Primarina being pretty cool. I was expecting Steel on it. And then the other thing is Mamoswine was, I thought, a possibility for coming out this week, but there is no Mamo. So, I think my game plan is Murkrow Golden Go as the lead. And then in practice, I've actually often been going with Palmot plus Slacking as a combo. I think Tatsu is interesting for Choice Scarf, Icy Wind, and Muddy Water. It also does give me Storm Drain into Primarina. Basically, the main debate is whether or not I want solo Slacking, because I actually do end up bringing it a good bit while using this team. Yeah. So let's see. I think there's basically two primary molds that Wolfe can go for. You can go for a Noivern-based Tailwind mode or a Trick Room-based Trevenant mode. It's going to be Noivern Primarina. Okay. I'm going to be able to Frisk us here. Sash Noivern makes sense. I think I could obviously Tailwind Make It Rain turn 1. Just seeing if we bring him down to Sash with a Make It Rain. Golden Go. Modest. We don't. We could end up matching Tailwinds. I'm also thinking about just Brave Birding Make It Rain turn 1 onto Noivern. Get that out of the way. Terra Water Golden Go. I'm down for that. I think it's just covers for a fair bit defensively here. I guess the downside here is if he goes Terra Electric Terra Blast into Golden Go turn 1. I think that's a possibility. It could be Assault Vest Primarina with this. Okay, just Sunny Day. That's fine. Sunny Day Weather Ball. Nice. Well, we don't get surprised by that. Sunny Day Weather Ball. We do a ton to Primarina. It's funny because when Wolfe and I played in the WBE finals, this was like a draft league 5 years ago. I think I had gone for like max Flare with Noivern, and then Weather Ball, and then Wolfe caught onto it. Arcanine is in now. Okay. I could Tailwind, obviously. We've got Palmot and Slacking for offense in this endgame. Could Terra Electric this. Like, I generally think it's okay to go Tailwind plus Make It Rain here. Palmot Slacking. This could Terra, so I could Shadow Ball it. Wild Charge from this is one thing I'd anticipated potentially as well. But I think I'm okay going Tailwind. Make It Rain. Okay, Primarina pivots. That makes sense. Trevenant? Yep. Trick Room now is obviously the main thing I have to be wary of. Pretty good damage there. It's Dark Trevenant. Just Flare Blitz, okay. Fine by me. Gives me a free switch in. Citrus Arc? No citrus. Okay. This grants me a free switch in. I could go Palmont. I think, like, the main thing right now is we probably expect Trevenant to Dark Terra. I have to be careful because if I go solo Slacking, he could obviously protect and get around it. I think it's probably best to go Palmont here. Yeah. So I think this could Dark Terra. To which I think we can go... it's just a question of if it's citrus or not. I just wouldn't expect citrus this week. Double Shock and Shadow Ball. Okay, Arcanine protects. Nice. Are you citrus? Ah, it is. Okay. I'm not sure Shadow Ball KOs then. Let's see. Ah, I think we won the game on the spot there if it KO'd, but it's okay. Trick Room goes up now. And it does harvest the citrus back. Two turns of Tailwind. So obviously you could Flare Blitz now, Wood Hammer into Golden Go. That's my first question, whether or not it has Wood Hammer. Could see a double up obviously as well. I'm going to protect, switch out into Slacking right now. One of the things I want to do is if we stall at our own Tailwind, our Golden Go will be faster than Arcanine under Trick Room. Okay, it's Horn Leech, which is good, because that means Golden Go should survive against this thing. Oh, Howl! That's really neat. Okay. And it keeps harvesting. Yeah, this is sick. This is sick. Very reminiscent of... Yeah, the sun is up, obviously, so it does keep harvesting it. But yeah, very reminiscent of the Trevenant Wolf had in Worlds. I wonder if this Terras. That's my primary question right now. I could switch out into Golden Go. Okay, I think I'm just going to knock off CC here. Arcanine protects, okay. He's gonna Will-O-Wisp me. So it's Will-O-Wisp, Trick Room. Wow, Trick Room. Horn Leech. Poltergeist would be my guess, right? Tailwind Peter's out. Oh my goodness. Pain. Two turns of Trick Room left. You know Palmot has to lounge around this turn. I've already revealed Protect. What he should do is double up onto Palmot anyway, I think. Force the Protect. Part of me is thinking of just ripping Close Combat here this turn. Close Combat. Double Edge. Horn Leech into Palmot, yep. Yeah. If I protected there, I could have switched Slacking out into Golden Go. That was probably the play. The problem is with the How boost, I think Trevenant then becomes too difficult. Wonder what the damage roll was with the double up into it. It's a really cool set. Last turn of Trick Room now. So I'll outspeed Arcanine here. Obviously this can Horn Leech me. I'm not even sure it KOs is the thing. Because I'm max HP. And he's obviously pretty bulky. Water Terra. With the boost, I think he does get the knockout. Which is quite annoying. I'm going to protect knockoff then. Yeah. Puts into me. Gets the KO. I think it probably needed to be slacking out into Palmot. Or sorry, yeah, slacking out into Golden Go, protect Palmot. Then Golden Go would have actually, but I'm still threatened by Shadow Ball anyway. Yeah, the problem is now Primarina outpaces me. I'll just Shadow Ball. What you should do is Dark Terra Trick Room here, actually. So I could win off a Make It Rain crit if you Trick Roomed. Trying to think if I could have had a better option over slacking in this one, given this Trevenant set. Arcanine just protects. Okay. No need to Trick Room then with this. Wow, that KOs? Oh my gosh. Okay. I still lose though because he's faster Primarina. The Sunny Day Harvest combo is really cool. I think Gold is honestly the most important Pokemon in this matchup. I wonder after turn 1 whether or not I should have like considered staying in and nasty plotting. I could have gone like Feather Dance, nasty plot, which probably would have just won me the game on the spot. But yeah. Unless somehow we're speed tying here. Flare Blitz move. Or, I don't know, I am super bulky here. He should Terra Primarina now, though, into Electric anyway, because he hasn't Terra'd. Let's protect Howl, Flare Blitz, Arc. Yeah, I think turn 2... Feather Dance Nasty Plot would have been really sick. I think that's Scarf Primarina, right? Given that I just outsped Arcanine. Okay. Yeah, turn 2 I had a winning play of Feather Dance Arcanine and Nasty Plot with the Golden Go. But obviously I didn't know what set the Arcanine would be necessarily. And also, because I'm not running a lot of speed on Murkrow or Golden Go, like basically no speed, I figured, and because Noivern moved before Primarina, I didn't know if it was Scar. It still could be just fast Primarina, slower Arcanine, but I don't think that's the case. I'm thinking of leading Palmont this time around. Murkrow's still not bad, though. Especially now that I know this Arcanine set. Like, I think Feather Dance is actually such a big deal in this matchup. Yeah, I'm thinking something like Palmont Golden Go Murkrow +1. It still could be slacking in the back, but boy, is it annoying to deal with the Trevenant. But I think we still bring this. Alright. Scarf Tatsu is an option as well. I just think it's Scarf Primarina based on how this is played out. I wonder if it was correct to also like Nasty Plot with Golden Go when I went Double Shock Make It Rain, but I didn't think that was an unreasonable play because if we knocked out the Trevenant there, I think I just win the game, and it was quite close. I don't know what the damage rolls were there. Arcanine is Spathra, okay. I think with this, I'm leaning towards Fake Out into Arcanine, Nasty Plot turn 1. And then the idea is get Murkrow in, and then sweep with Golden Go. Yeah, I think I'm down for this. Okay, doesn't protect either Mon. Spathra Light Screens. That was actually something we had thought about in prep. Get your speed boost. I think now I'm leaning towards pivoting in Murkrow. And protecting Golden Go. What is Arcanine's final? We've seen Protect, Howl, Flare Blitz. Wild Charge is what I was theorying would make sense. Tatsugiri would have been pretty good as a lead here. Okay. Yeah, sets up Reflect. That makes sense. Blitz into Golden Go. Could have been a Water Terra Nasty Plot this turn again. That would have been cool. don't think I need a Tailwind here necessarily. I think I can reveal Feather Dance now. I mainly just don't want to get hit by Lumina Crash by this. Flare Blitz will still do a decent amount, I suppose. Like, I think I can go Feather Dance, Water Terra, Shadow Ball here. That probably works. Okay. There's Feather Dance. Now you're -2. Yep, Lumina Crash. Fine, we don't take a ton. And Blitz, yeah. Nice. That does nothing. +2 Shadow Ball now. One shots its Bathrow, okay. It's probably Light Clay, right? Trevenant in now. Oh, it's interesting he brought Trev out. Okay. We saw how much Make It Rain did earlier, plus at neutral against him. He could Terra this, obviously. I mean, leaning towards just Brave Bird Make It Rain right now. I think alternatively, what Wolf could do is switch Arcanine out, but nothing can really take Make It Rain that well, right? I'm just thinking about nasty plotting again with this. But I think I'm okay going Brave Bird, MIR. Yeah, it pivots into Hariyama, okay. And he Terras, okay. I mean, I think Brave Bird Make It Rain KOs this, but let's see. Okay, I feel like that should be enough. Nice. Oh, it crit him. I mean, we were at +2? I'm not sure. But either way, that should be game over now. Arcanine in. I mean, let's see. Trevenant, like, we're max special attack, modest, with Metal Coat into Trevenant. +2, light screen. It depends on his EV spread, honestly. This game also isn't guaranteed over yet, so let's actually make sure we close out the game. You can obviously fake out either slot. I've got Palmon in the back. Steel Terra Hariyama. I'm going Feather Dance Shadow Ball here. No fake out. So we Feather Dance Arcanine. Yeah, he's gonna howl into Hariyama. And now I get Shadow Ball off. Doesn't KO, it's fine. Drain Punch Murkrow. Okay, that's fine with me. Honestly, I think we can just Feather Dance Hariyama here. Could Extreme Speed Murkrow, Drain Punch Golden Go. It doesn't look like it's Shadow Ball's gonna KO anyway, so I don't mind going for Make It Rain. Yep, it is Extreme Speed as the last one. Okay. That is good to know. Oh, that KO's Hariyama. Wow. Nice. Okay. Oh, he couldn't have Terra'd. He Terra'd Trevenant. That was dumb. Whoopsies. I'm gonna bring out Palmot now. Yeah, I mean, Fake Out Nasty Plot is always free here, right? He protects. Okay, so Espathra, where is the Focus Sash on his team? Arcanine, Trevenant, Citrus, Hornleech, TR, Will-O-Wisp. Close Combat here, and Shadow Ball. Okay. It's probably Ability Shield Arcanine, right? Flare Blitz, E-Speed. Howl is really cool as a tech. We saw Weather Ball, Moonblast from Primarina. Noivern, we saw Sunny Day. I think if you're him, you should try to go hard on setting up Trick Room, which would probably mean Hariyama Trevenant lead. I brought Covert Cloak Wheezing specifically to deal with Trevenant, so this is an option. But I think Murkrow Golden Go still works. I don't hate Wheezing Golden Go, honestly. Palmot. And I think it could still be Murkrow in the back for Quash, in case Trick Room does get set up. I could also go Slacking fourth. I'm going to opt for Slacking because I'm bringing Wheezing here. I think the synergy is just too strong to give up. Arcanine plus Trevenant. Okay. That makes sense. Is it Ability Shield? Yeah, called it. I have Taunt. He probably knows that, though. My honest guess is that this protects on turn 1. Like, try to bait out Terra from Golden Go. I could see Protect Flare Blitz into this. I went for double protect. Okay, he switches. That's fine. Into Hariyama. Okay, this is where Covert Cloak next turn should be huge for us. And I think what he wants to do is probably bait out a Terra for my end. I think the main thing to just think about is that Golden Go is so important in this matchup. Ah, the immediate Howl. Okay, that's a nice play. Strange Steam into you. But I think this Steel Terras now, probably. However, that Steel Terras, it means slacking suddenly can be pretty valuable. With Earthquake. I think we'll probably want to Terra Water Golden Go still. What I'm worried about getting doubled up into right now and just getting KO'd. A Strange Steam switch into Palma. I could have gone Nasty Plot turn 1 with Golden Go. That would have been really cool. Water Terra, Nasty Plot, Taunt might have been the play. Okay, if it goes Fake Out into Palma, that's fine. I don't mind that too much. Although, honestly, Murkrow would have been pretty good here with the Feather Dance. I thought he'd lean a little bit more into special damage this game, admittedly. But this is actually fine because now we get... Ooh, and the Confusion. We get Hariyama. Sorry, we get Slacking in now. I think what he should do is switch Arcanine now into Trevenant. Arc into Trevenant's what I would do personally. So I could knock off this slot. I could Grass Terra, Earthquake. I don't love that. Earthquake here is always guaranteed though. I could just Earthquake myself. That feels a little risky, but he could theoretically just stay in with Arcanine. I'm gonna knock off Strange Steam. Okay, Hari switches. It could be Protect on Arcanine. Just Extreme Speed. Okay, he was expecting me to knock him out, but this is actually really good that we don't. Nice. Yeah, because then he would have gotten the free switch. Actually, but then I would have gotten hit with my Covert Cloak tech. That's still fine. This turn is big. We still haven't Terra'd either. But I've got Taunt. So honestly, I don't mind, I think, going for the Taunt here. And the Double Edge into Arcanine. This is really tense. He's gonna Terra. Terra Trevenant? That's fine if he's trying to Trick Room here because we're taunting. I should be faster than your Arcanine because I'm max speed. Although it would have been cool to just have won the game here by clicking Double Edge into Trevenant, but I think this is fine. We're hoping to see him try to set up Trick Room right now. Either way, getting the Terra commit here is big because it means I can make it rain more easily right now with Golden Go. Nice. Huge. Okay. We're getting closer. So, we're close. We have taunted the Trevenant. I don't know what the last move is, though. Okay, so basically, I have Ghost Terra on Slacking. I could commit Ghost Terra here, but if I commit it, then I am opening up weaknesses to Dark-type attacks, right? So knock off, like, a Terra Blast. I don't know Trevenant's last move, right? It could be Poltergeist as well. I'm just worried in the world in which I Ghost Terra, he stays in with both Pokemon and targets down Slacking. So I think what we could do here is just Double Edge Hariyama and Strange Steam into Trevenant, right? If you fake out Slacking, that's fine. Trevenant's not KOing either Pokemon. We get a Strange Steam off. That might honestly just KO from where Trevenant's at right now. So it feels fine. I think the main question is whether or not I should be conserving the Terra, but Trevenant's going to pivot out. Okay. Into Primarina. Makes sense. And fake out into slacking. Okay, that's fine. This is fine. Strange Steam here is going to come out. Do some decent damage. So I think the main thing here is I don't think slacking should get one-shot by Primarina. So I think what I can do is if we knock out Primarina, I think we should just win the game since you can't Terra defensively with your Hariyama anymore. And I think I have Grass Terra and Wheezing. So Grass Terra and Wheezing should cover for every single move that Primarina can go for us. And as long as we survive this turn, I think we win the game. I'm just not sure if Sludge Bomb one-shots Primarina, so Double Edge guarantees the knockout into that slot, right? And any chip damage on Hariyama should put it in Make It Rain KO range as well. So I'm going to Double Edge into the Primarina and double into it with Double Edge plus Sludge Bomb. It's just that Primarina is the one thing that outspeeds the Golden Go in the back. So Hariyama actually pivots out, which I'm happy to see, because I think I did open myself up to Hariyama staying in and maybe KOing me. But I think now we should be good. Okay. This is Grass Terra Wheezing, by the way, max HP, max Pidef, specifically for Primarina. So I should be able to survive any attack from Primarina other than like... Okay, it's Psychic. Nice. Yeah, we're so tanky. Double Edge here into Primarina. Nice. Yeah, I just wanted Primarina gone this turn. Like, I was willing to lose either Slacking or Wheezing, even with Hariyama out on the field. But with him switching out, I think then we should definitely be good here. Sludge Bomb comes out. Gets a Poison, which is lucky as well. I don't think it really makes a difference here at the end of the day, because maybe it puts it in KO range from like a Steam or a Make It Rain when otherwise it wouldn't have fainted. Hariyama has to come back in, right? And now I can just Strange Steam Double Edge once again. I could taunt, actually. I think like I could lose this game off Trick Room getting set up. So I think what we'd want to do is go for taunt. Even if Trevenant attacks, that's okay. But I think I don't want to risk the world in which he just goes for the Trick Room. So I think what we should do is just go for taunt. And Double Edge. And even if he reads me and like attacks, that's totally okay. Now I have Covert Cloak here as well, right? So yeah, I think I just need to make sure that the Trick Room is covered for. And like I don't mind eating up damage right now. So let's see what he goes for. The Covert Cloak is huge here though. I think like that honestly wins me the game. Okay, he goes for Fake Out. That makes sense. On a Slacking, yeah. I could have gone Strange Steam there, but I think it's good to just guarantee Trick Room not going up here. Yeah, and Slacking even survives. Nice. I think we're good. Double Edge here. We've never technically seen this thing's moveset. Like, I get a guaranteed knockout here, then it's single target, Make It Rain. I'm also thinking... I'm thinking about KO differential, but that's probably not as important. Oh, this could theoretically have, like, a surprise Bullet Punch as well, I guess. I think I'll just Double Edge Strange Steam here. Nice. Okay. And that should be game. Oh, man. I'm really curious on the game 2 calc. I like think we should knock out most Trevenants, given how much my first Make It Rain did, but we get the KO. Nice. Oh, man. That was intense. That was very intense, but we got it. So the Make It Rain into the Trevenant at +2 with max special attack meta code through light screen does 83% minimum and 98% maximum. I think the Brave Bird probably brought the Trevenant down to at least around 85%. So I felt like our odds of getting that knockout were extremely high. Not sure it was guaranteed if we had like a super low roll Make It Rain based on that Brave Bird. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, this high end is why I felt like Brave Bird plus Make It Rain should get that knockout most of the time. Of course, at the end of the first game, the Trevenant was actually at -1 special defense, which is why we were actually able to KO. In the moment, I actually like totally did not think about that. And I was like, what? How are you so frail? But this is the explanation, right? And so at -1, Make It Rain kind of just crushes it here. The other thing that I was curious about was how much our -2 Shadow Ball does into the Trevenant at neutral, because if we had gotten the knockout in the end of game 1, it would have just won us the game on the spot, I think, right? So it's actually a pretty big range here, as you can see. It's like 47 to 56%. So if we had the higher end of that roll, I think we would have gotten the knockout onto the Trevenant, but looks like we got a lower roll for that Shadow Ball specifically. The Trevenant was actually max HP, max defense, basically, which is why it was also to take that double shock so effectively. Felt pretty good about my double up there, but in the end, it was not enough to get the knockout. So yeah, that's the calc for those of you that were curious. So basically, like, I think the odds of us getting the Make It Rain plus Brave Bird KO even through screens was quite high there. But yeah, obviously the critical hit just like guaranteed it immediately on the spot, which was quite fortunate. Well, that was a really, really crazy set. Like, game 1, I thought I had such a good advantage after turn 1, right? I was like, I should be in a really good spot, and felt like maybe I could have just won the game on the second turn, but I think I really liked this decision to kind of like bait out my Tailwind and then get Trick Room up. Thought that was really smart. And then I think because I ended up investing more especially defensive on the Murkrow, like fainting immediately didn't feel super good. Like, I think what we could have done potentially, like I mentioned, was Feather Dance to drop Arcanine's attack, and then that would have given me the opportunity to survive. Like, if I went Feather Dance plus Nasty Plot turn 2 and then Tailwind, Make It Rain turn 3, I think we probably would have just won game 1 like that. Game 2, like I said, I think the critical hit ended up not mattering since we were a max special attack Metal Coat Golden Go, and Wolfe was very physically defensive, given that he survived double shock super well. Yeah, he told me his EV spread afterwards. And then game 3, I think, felt really, really back and forth, took some risks, but ultimately ended up paying off. And I think, yeah, the taunt ended up being huge, right? And this is what I was saying in the matchup analysis, where it's like you can run a lot of good items on Trevenant, but you can only run one. So once I figure out what you have, I can go from there. So yeah, I don't know. It was a really, really, really fun set, and I felt like we were able to show a lot of different adjustments throughout it, which was awesome. And I think definitely the coolest thing was the Trevenant set, and I like the manual Sunny Day from Noivern. Once again, gives me throwbacks to the last time we played in the WBE, where I had Max Flare Noivern to set up for Weather Ball. So that was a fun throwback. But yeah, I think Trevenant was amazing in game 1, right? Like, I think it hanging out with just the sliver of HP and then being able to heal all the way back up while disrupting my team made this such a big threat, but we were able to neutralize it, fortunately, a little bit more in the subsequent games. So it's definitely one of my favorite games from the league. It's always a pleasure playing Wolfe, and so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. But yeah, thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.